Today on DNVR Buffs Live, we got him, the governor, Camden Dempsey, how he got the role, how his relationship developed with Coach Prime, that and so much more. Let's jump in. Let's go.
Big one today.
Big one.
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It is DNVR Buffs Primetime, presented by Illegal Pete's. And today we've got the governor.
Yes, sir. I was going to say, I just have the urge to say cheers to the governor.
Cheers.
What's up, man?
No, hey, so good to see you guys. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's really good to be able to, be on with some true diehard Buff fans and get to, have the full experience of being in the little man cave you guys got there.
I love it, man. Well, first and foremost, as the governor, I just want to give you the floor. Do you have any words that you want to share with the people?
Well, what I can tell you is we are 71 days away from kickoff, and we could not be more excited as a team. I think, it's been really great over the past couple of weeks since, the first address. First of all, the response from all the fans has been absolutely amazing. It's been really cool to see everyone kind of really love this new role that I'm filling in and be able to interact directly with our fans and talk with them. That's been really exciting. But then it's also been able to it's been great to see the guys on the team actually be able to, have somewhat more of a voice and be able to actually speak about some of the stuff that's going on in our locker room. So I think we're all super excited. We're working our tails off right now in the weight room. We're really working hard out on the field. It's a really great feeling. We just finished up a couple of camps today. So we're looking at, the future of Colorado football, which is always a great thing. So right now the program is doing fantastic. And I'm really excited to see, just over the next couple of weeks, how things go. We've got a bit of a break coming up here, and then we're going to start fall camp and be right back to it. So.
Hell yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, you are the governor, so I've got to ask you, how did those conversations go about, and how did you get the name the governor from Coach Prime?
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to have a pretty good relationship with Coach ever since he came in, and he kind of singled me out as someone who was able to speak very well, talk with our program, talk with our guys. I'm an OB, original Buff, so kind of got a pretty good pulse on the pride and tradition of the Colorado Buffaloes. And we were talking, it was back at the leadership retreat a couple weeks ago, and we'd seen some of the stuff in the media that was coming out, and we were talking as a leadership group, and was talking with Coach, and he's like, we need someone who can not only speak for the players, but who can speak to the program, who can speak to what's actually going on, and be kind of like a one-stop shop for any sort of information that comes out of the program, any sort of media. I'm sure you've seen over the past couple of weeks some of the stuff that I've had to talk about when it comes to some articles coming out. So we were talking about it then, and it kind of blew up into this amazing role that I had no clue I would ever be filling in my time here at CU, and it's been really fun, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to do with this role, but it really stems from, the really cool part of being on Coach's team is not only the football side of it, but also getting to work with Coach as a businessman, because he is absolutely amazing when it comes to media and production and stuff like that. So I think he kind of saw a way to help our program get another voice that's different from what you hear at a press conferences, different than what you hear from just some of the guys taking video in the locker room and posting that on their own personal YouTube channels. So kind of bridging that personal professional gap, which is something that I hope to serve well. I hope to serve my teammates well, and I hope to be able to connect the fans better to CU football.
I love it, man. And you mentioned at the very beginning that you've been fortunate to have a great relationship with Coach Prime, which is crazy because I was told that Coach Prime only cares about Shador, Travis, and Shiloh.
No, that's the best part about this team is, I mean, you've got amazing players, but you've got this coach that really wants to help out every guy on this team when it comes to, their playing ability, when it comes to just promoting themselves in terms of, their own, like whether it's NIL or just who they are as young men and helping develop that. I remember my first interaction with Coach was it was a workout the spring that he came in, and I'm a long snapper. I look like I'm dying at practice. We're doing this like horrible conditioning set, and he looks at me and he's like, if you do half of these right, he's like, you can take the rest off. And I kind of looked at him, I'm like, is this a test? I had no clue. I'd never interacted with him before, and I was terrified, right? I'm like, am I going to do something wrong? And he genuinely was just being nice. He was like, if you want to take the rest off, like, you look like you're, a couple 40s away from dropping on the field. And, and so I was like, no thanks. I'm going to stick this out and not cheapen my teammates. And he thought I was crazy. He kind of gave me this look like, are you sure? Because you really look like you need some help. But I think that was kind of the first interaction I had with him that showed, like, just that first impression was really important. And ever since then, I've been able to talk with him on just a lot of different topics. And one of the best resources that CU has is a coach who not only gets the coaching side, but who is just an incredible businessman. You've seen all the deals he's done with CU. It's just such an exciting environment to be at, and he really does care about every player. So it's just fantastic.
That's the opposite of something I did once in my football career, which probably highlights why you made it so much further in yours. One time my coach was so mad at us. He's like, I want you guys to run. And like, he couldn't even think of how much he wanted us to run. He goes, just run till you drop. And so I took about 20 steps and then just dropped to the floor. And I immediately regretted it. It was like, this is going to be so bad. And he walks over to me and he must have just, I don't know, thought it was funny or something. He just goes, you're smarter than the rest of them.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, Camden. You are an OB. You mentioned that you've been here since 2021. You redshirted then. Just what has this been like for you? Your CU career, how would you define it to this point? A lot of turmoil and ups and downs, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hold on to the bucking buffalo. That's how I describe it. It's been crazy. I mean, I came in under Coach Durrell, and I was an offensive lineman for about 6 weeks. I got 6 weeks into practice, brand new freshman, still figuring out campus, and then I tore my ACL in practice, and that was really tough, trying to figure out, like, not only this college thing, but also how to, get around classes with crutches, how to deal with surgery. It was my first big injury, and so while I was recovering back from that, I'd lost some weight from my offensive lineman size, and I was talking with a bunch of coaches, and they're like, hey, you're on the shorter side. We think that it would probably be a good idea if you learned how to long snap rather than play offensive line, which was a really good thing because I think the new guys that we've got in are a lot bigger and a lot stronger than I was at that point. So I really just, for me, CU has been like, it's my home. I've been coming to games here ever since I was little. Like, I've got a picture of me in buff gear, I think, like before I could walk. So it's like my home. And so all the coaches that have come through, all the players that have come through, like, it kind of hasn't really not mattered, but like, I'm going to stay here around here no matter what. And I want to be able to like leave my mark on this program. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So once I rehab back from my ACL, the training staff was amazing. The medical staff was amazing. I then switched over to long snapping, and I had some coaches that were super patient with me and allowed me to pretty much learn my way into a position that is pretty skill-based and is something that a lot of guys spend a long time learning. So I've been lucky to, I've been long snapping for about 1.5 years, 2 years now, and it's been a great journey. I mean, getting to, really stick around with some of the other OBs on our team, Charlie Offerdahl, Ben Finiseth, Cristiano Palazzo. I mean, all those guys were really close. And I think it's been cool to be able to figure out how to leave our mark on a program, taking the good stuff from past and then also bringing in all the new stuff. I think it's been fun.
Just going further into that, the bond that the OBs have, between you, what is it, 10 of you guys right now? So it's been, I mean, a few years since you guys all got here, but how would you describe the bond that you guys all have now?
Oh, it's unlike any other sort of bond I've felt between teammates before, because really we were together for the 1-11 season. We've been through, some crazy workouts. We stuck it out through the period where coach came in and they were looking to, put guys through the ringer and see who actually wanted to stick around. And what you're left with is a really great group of guys from the original team who want to be here, who want to make an impact, and who want to work their tails off. And I don't think you find that sort of group anywhere else. Like, it's a really small group of people for a reason. And I mean, we've all got each other's backs too. It's been really fun to, we all support each other through on social media, on NIL deals that we're trying to work out. It's a really tight-knit group, and it also is a really good seed to start any of the new guys that are coming into our program. It's a great seed for those guys to branch off of, because we know the secrets of we know this ins and out of the facility. We know all this stuff, and it's teaching the new guys, the traditions and the history behind the program that's so important. So I think we're kind of the foundation for that, and have been trying to grow this new team and grow a new, more united team off of that.
That's awesome, man. That group that you guys have is so special, and honestly, I'm guessing part of it for you and why you stuck it out and why you stuck around goes back to what you were saying, which is you're a lifetime Buffs fan. You're a diehard, like a lot of us that, me sitting here or people that are watching this show. I want to tap into that. Let's talk about your childhood as a Buffs fan.
Yeah, so I've been coming to games ever since I was probably before I could walk. My grandpa, his name was Ed Fogel. He had season tickets since 1967, I think. So my mom went, my dad went. They're both Buff fans. I think combined my family has like 11 degrees from CU. So like we bleed black and gold, baby. Like it is like we've got buffaloes all over our house, everything like that. So I grew growing up going to tailgates. One time my grandpa, he fell down the steps at Folsom Field, and we ended up going to the hospital, and we saw some of the 2016 Buffaloes. Well, I forget who it was. One of the guys tore something and was in the hospital, and we saw, like all the players in the hospital going to support their teammate and make sure that they were okay. So like, we've been through it. We've been through the good, the bad. We've seen the entire program. I grew up hearing stories about, the national championship team, hearing stories about Nebraska and how much that means to us. Like, it's a really cool thing to be able to take my own family's love for the Buffs and the tradition that I grew up around and try and spread that to my teammates who, don't know yet what an amazing history this program is. And that's something that I'm trying to bring back through this governor role, is really going to be, I think we're going to try and show the Salinesi story when we light up the scoreboard for the first time for both alumni and for players, to try and get that bond of like, here's an amazing program and here's what really led behind it. Talk about some of the former players that have been important through this program, and I really want to instill that deep-rooted, I guess you could call it competitive nature. I don't want to say hatred, but competitive nature for Nebraska and in that game, and get guys excited for that, because I think there might be an official governor's decree sometime around that game that there's going to be no red worn in the facility, because that's something that I take very seriously.
I love that, man, and I hope you know how much that means to people like me, and just everyone's along for the ride here, and it's been so amazing. But there's so many people that have supported this program for so long that do care about that tradition and that stuff, and so for you to take it upon yourself to kind of spread the good word is awesome. I'm curious about like some of your favorite players, some of your favorite games that you went to growing up.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to remember. I think one of my favorite ones, it wasn't one that I went to, but it was the game, I think it was 2018 or 2019, whenever we last played Nebraska at Nebraska. And I remember I was watching that on TV with my family, and I think it was the kick that won the game in overtime. And that was absolutely electric. And then for me, some of the other ones that have been amazing have just been like, so my freshman year, since I tore my ACL, the ones that really meant a lot to me were the ones where I actually got to go and sit up with my family and hang out with them during a game, because I wasn't on the sideline, because our sidelines are pretty small to begin with, so they don't need someone down there hobbling around. But being able to be a player, being able to talk with my family, and just have that experience with them, those were really special, because it's something that not a lot of people get to experience. Is being, it sucked not being down on the field, but it was also awesome just getting to be up in the stands and hang out with my family and be like, yeah, like that'll be, I'll be down there in a couple of years. So
I love it, man.
Hell yeah. All right, let's take a quick break real quick, and then we will get back to Camden. Shout out to our friends, new friends actually, over at BetterHelp, online therapy service. Look, guys, life is hard. There's a lot of things we all have to go through, and sometimes you just need an outlet to let it go. If you've been wanting to try therapy and have had trouble, finding a therapist or whatever, maybe you should check out BetterHelp. It's all online. You can talk to someone, just figure out boundaries in your life, talk out things that you need to go through, whatever you have going on in your life. Get some help over at BetterHelp. And we've got a deal for you guys here. If you visit betterhelp.com/DNVR today, you can get 10% off your first month. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR. Hit them up.
Maybe one of the best things about our generation is removing the stigma around therapy and getting help. So shout out BetterHelp. Also, shout out to Toyota. Absolutely love my Toyota. Of course, they present this lounge that we are sitting in. They're the official vehicle of DNVR. And as I always say, they're the official vehicle of getting me to this show every single day and back home afterwards. I always feel safe in my Toyota. I love the features, and I'll be a Toyota guy for life. So if you want to get in on a Toyota, make sure you visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, proud partner of CU Athletics, and again, the official vehicle of DNVR.
All right, back here with the governor, Camden Dempsey, on the show. Let's talk about last year, Camden, because there's a lot that was going on with the transfer portal and all that. What was that like for you? Kind of going through this point last year, spring football and all that stuff, where everyone's coming in and out of the portal, lots of traffic moving in and out. What was it like for you, and why did you ultimately decide to stay? Really?
Yeah. So I think the most interesting thing about that is when it came to that transfer portal. I mean, you're talking about that new spring team that we got. It felt like I was almost the one who transferred, because there were so many new faces in the building, and that's really tough as not only as a player to figure out how to deal with, but also the coaching staff. I mean, having to learn all these guys' names, having to learn how to coach them, having to learn, if there are specific guys that, you need to focus on a little bit more or just tailor your stuff to. That's really tough for a program to absorb, not just CU, but any program in general. But with that comes a lot of opportunity to really find unique players who can you can exploit their skills really well and figure out some great synergies between players that you normally wouldn't see. So when we got that new team, it was really cool because there was a team for 2 years and you kind of saw them and it was like, okay, you knew what to expect coming to practice. But there were days where you'd be sitting at practice and all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, I had no clue that was going to happen, because guys were making plays that you wouldn't expect. There was just a new energy in the building, and that was something that we were really missing. So the other hard part of that too, though, was really trying to figure out, you've got all these new guys, how do you unite them around something, and how do you bring them into that fold and bring them into the team? So I ultimately, I decided to stay because, like I said, diehard Buff, but also I think that I just kind of had this innate sense of I need to do something to help bring this team together, and I need to do something to help this team win and go forward. And ultimately, I really did believe that we were going to do some amazing things. And, going back to that question about some favorite games, I mean, just that TCU game, that first game that we had, I was on the field for that. I got to travel. That was the first game that I ever traveled for. That was single-handedly a core memory, because being on that field for just the first drive and being like, oh wow, this is going to be a special season, we've got something special cooking, that was super unique. So that's kind of, we had a bunch of guys transfer out, but we've also had a lot of guys transfer in. What I can tell you is despite everything that you hear in the media, despite all this, change and people, talking, we have who we need. We've got a great team. We've got every position group is competing super hard, and we've got a championship level team that is hungry and ready for the season to start.
What impresses you most? Well, first of all, I love that you use the term core memory to talk about TCU, because I think it's the perfect way to describe it. It's literally what I captioned my Instagram about it after the game. Like it's a core memory. Like, anyone who was there will be talking about that forever. Yep. The energy that was like encapsulated in that moment is honestly incomparable for me. Moving forward, what is it about this team that makes you so confident that it's a championship caliber team? What is different about this team from last year's team?
It's really the mindset. When I think last year, the number one thing, and I'll speak honestly about this, that's my job as governor. The number one thing that I think we struggled with as a team last year was discipline. I mean, you can look to the penalties that we had pre-snap. That was really tough to deal with. And at the core of it, it all came down to discipline. You saw it in some of our workouts when, guys were jumping off the line at the wrong time. Guys were, just little details. And that stuff builds up over time. And I think the big difference now from last year is we've got guys who are focused. A lot of the guys that have come in realize that, this is a season that we can't build. We don't have time to build. This is like one shot to the end of the year. The train is going. We got to hop on. And so there's this sense of urgency, and there's also this sense of importance of you cannot let any detail escape your view. And having that detail focus, that determination, and that discipline to keep track of the details. I mean, we had, guys who were not coming into breakfast last year, and this year that's not been a problem. We've got guys that, a lot of our workouts, they're not shorter, they're just as hard, but typically last year we'd have to go over on workouts and stay, workout extra because guys were not focusing and weren't being able to finish the workout in specific ways that our strength staff expected us to. So, and that's not a problem this year. I mean, there's just been this shift, and it's been really refreshing. Just like the shift 2 years ago to a team of, not so much energy to one with just energy and passion. There's now this sense of urgency and this mission that I think you can see amongst all of our players that is really, we've got one shot, and it's the Big 12 championship, and we're excited for it. And the national championship too. Don't get me wrong, but
I love it.
Kind of along those lines, Camden, what we've noticed just, watching you guys through all the YouTube channels and stuff, of course, on the field, you talked about the discipline and everything, but it just seems like off the field, everyone's more together. Like everyone gets along. Even guys who are just joining the program, seems like they fit right in. What is the difference between that this year and last year? Because, last year, obviously a lot of OBs and stuff, a lot of, the Jackson guys, like it just seemed like very, almost like cliques almost. And this year it's just one giant team.
Yeah. I think with any new team, you're obviously going to have a bit of a divide between the older guys and the newer guys. And that was tough. I think especially last season, you could see it a bit, like you said, there was a little bit of clickiness going on. But some of the guys also who were still on last season, they toughed it out through the spring, but I don't think they really wanted to stick around. They were just seeing how it would play out. And some of them just honestly didn't believe either. And that got tough. So I think we've kind of had this extra flush of people where, we've taken, the top 20% of, two sets of classes, and now you've just got this stacked roster with guys who realize that to have a team at that level, you need to make that investment in your teammates. Like last year, some guys would just, pack up and go home after practice. This year, guys are staying after. They're doing extra work. They're helping coach each other. There's a focus on developing the younger players, which is really nice to see because that wasn't a focus from the older players to help develop our younger players, which is good to see for the future of the program on my end. And then also there's just a general sense of, these guys, a lot of them, since they're so new, they want to get to know guys in the state. Like we're going out to the creek and hanging out. That's been really fun. Just like being able to be college students too is great. Like going to the creek, hanging out at like pools at each other's apartments, going golfing. Like the specialist group, we've become fiends at mini golf because that's been a great way for us to connect. But it's really been a focus of how can we within the next 71 days gain that trust of every player that we need to be able to go out on a mission together. So it's nice. I think we're really trying to lean into the Colorado side of it too, and lean into more service as well, because I think that we found that through some of the community service stuff we've been doing, they did the Juneteenth March this last week, and you saw a ton of new guys who were at that. And so I think through that community service element, we're really building a program back around the Boulder, Colorado, back around the CU side that is guys who've completely bought in, and it's really nice to feel that.
Are you guys going Gateway or Adventure Golf?
I think it's the Adventure Golf in North Boulder. That one, it's got the two courses.
I think that maybe they changed the name. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Whichever one is like North Boulder that has like the castle course and the windmill course. That's the one that like we've been going to. It's really fun.
Who's the best?
Yeah.
Oh, Jace Feely. He's killer. He's like our in-house golf resident. Like if you need to go talk with him.
I love it. You guys should actually check out Adventure. I think it's like Westminster, but it has like a volcano that erupts. Like it's pretty sick.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's next on the list. I'll tell our group that we're gonna go do that.
One thing that we haven't, talked about here about this team getting better is the talent. Like the talent level has clearly gotten better every single portal period, every single recruiting period. Obviously, you've got your own responsibilities to worry about when you're at practice. But I'm just curious, aside from the obvious, Travis and Shador and those guys, what players, especially new guys, have stuck out to you?
Yeah, BJ Green. He's the number one that sticks out in my head. It's been really cool to see like a guy. I don't think I've seen anyone before in this program so quickly like assimilate into the team. Like he's just done a great job. He's my competition, but he's a great guy. Our other long snapper guy, Cam, he's been fantastic as well. He came in, and then long
snappers have to be some sort of Cam.
Yeah, we've got multiple Cams now, right? Like it's really funny. And then Bill Goldberg's son, he's really taken the team quite quick. So I think talent-wise, offensive line too. That's one I've not been like close to their practice side of the field because they're deep in the trenches. But from what I've seen on the just talking with those guys and hearing from them, it's cutthroat, and like it's been really cool to see like an offensive line that is like going at it hard. You always know where they've worked because like there's almost like an indentation in the ground because like especially for one-on-ones, like they call it the trenches for a reason, and those guys are tearing up the field. I know our grounds crew probably despises them for how much of a dent they leave, but it's good. You didn't see that on the old team, and it's great to feel that feeling. So talent-wise, I mean, there are going to be guys that I'll be highlighting over the next couple of weeks. We've got some dads on the team. They're student athletes full-time. They're also full-time fathers, which is really cool to see. And then we've got a couple of sets of brothers on the team too, which is cool as well. And then I'll be highlighting a couple of our new guys too that we've got on the team that's already sort of taken on leadership roles too. So that's something that I'm excited to, in this governor role. I want our old traditional fans to get to know these new guys and have a connection to these guys, because I think as we go into season, I don't want it to be like, oh, who had an amazing game? I want it to be like, oh, I know that guy, I love them, I know all this about them. So really trying to focus on developing that player-fan relationship and making it a bit more personal.
Love that, man. One note on BJ Green. Did you know he started his career as a walk-on?
No, really? I did not know that.
Yes, sir. Walk-on at Arizona State. Climbed the ladder.
Okay. Wow. Well, he's got that determination. You say that and it makes sense because there certainly is a walk-on mentality. Similar to, Charlie Offerdahl, how there's something special about him. So that makes a lot of sense.
Well, you brought him up just with Charlie. I mean, you've known him, obviously, since the time you guys have been there. What was it like just, watch his progression, watch him grow, and then get that scholarship for the spring game?
Gosh. Charlie, so it's funny. We've always been competing on the GPA front because Charlie and I, we both typically have, the higher GPAs on the team. And so we've always been competing as to, who has the higher term GPA at the end of the year. And, gosh, I love the guy. He is one of the most genuine, honest, just like amazing people. And so for him to have that moment in the locker room with his family, I'll be honest, I saw his family in there and they said that they were going to give him spring player of the game, but I saw his family in there. I'm like, oh, I know it's coming, because that's a long time overdue. I mean, we all the guys on the team, especially the OBs, we'd always have a chant out there that was always, Offerdahl. Like, that was what we'd yell at practice when he was doing great. And so to see that pay off, he's developed a great relationship with Coach too, and that's been really special to see. So it's that was just awesome. I'm so proud of him.
Charlie's so awesome, man. There's certain people that just when you're in their presence, you can feel how good of a person they are. I feel like Charlie is one of those people.
100%.
All right, let's take another quick break. We'll be back with the governor of CU football, Camden Dempsey, here in a second. But quick shout out to our friends over at Vestibule, a cool new app that allows you, the fans, to get closer to some of your favorite players. They've launched with Baron Browning, Denver Broncos outside linebacker, coming into a contract year. He's in line to break the bank if he balls out this season, and you can make money alongside Baron with our friends at Vestibule. Download the app, scan that QR code on the screen, and purchase his IPO. It's live right now. Shares are limited, but they are available for purchase. Go download the Vestibule app now and invest in Baron.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. We will be at Circa Hotel very soon, but in the meantime, we can rock with our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. The best odds in the game, as far as I'm concerned, because they're still handcrafted.
Yep.
One of the very last remaining sports books that has their lines built by real people, which is awesome. No frills at Circa Sportsbook. You don't have to, think about what boosts you want to use or anything like that. They're just going to give you the best odds every time, and over a long period of time, that's going to pay off for you. So go to circasports.com and download the Circa Sports app. Of course, bets can only be made while physically in the state of Colorado. You must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sportsbook encourages you to gamble responsibly, and if you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, back with Camden Dempsey. Camden, you kind of talked about it. You guys went on that leadership retreat, and it's around that time, the athletic hit pieces come out. There's been a few more since then. But what is your reaction? What is the team's reaction when those things come out and people just say these crazy things about the program and your coach?
Yeah, no, it's honestly kind of annoying. Like, I think we've always talked about this. Like, if you break up with someone, like, typically the person who says stuff that's bad about the person was the one who got broken up with. And like, there's just this general sense of like, if you left the program and you're happy with where you end up, great. We're so happy for you. You're in a better place that you like. But for some of this other stuff, it's like there's just so much news that picks up traction that isn't true and is just people trying to get a headline. But the thing that drives me crazy, I commented on your guys' thing the other day, like, people are so quick to get a headline and then there's no follow-up on it, and it just becomes like common rumor. Like this whole thing with us being forced to go to Shore's concert, that is just so stupid. I'm so glad that like we're talking about it, but like, frankly, like, we can just set the record straight once and for all. We were not forced to go. Like, he didn't even know he was performing, and like, I can confirm I wasn't even at that concert. I got home, I was super tired from the spring game, I went to bed. So like, it wasn't true. But it's going to be an issue going into season. There are going to be more things that are written about the program. So like, what I'd hope is that journalists come to, either me or talk with my teammates, hopefully me, because that's my job right now, is I'm here to be able to talk about what's true about the program. And I'll keep it honest. Like, if stuff actually did happen, then yeah, we'll talk about it. But for the stuff that just isn't true, like, come talk with me, because yeah, you might get a couple of clicks, but it's not worth it. Like, the articles like that are just so stupid, and it's such a distraction from the amazing stories of guys on our team, from the amazing stuff that we're doing as a program, that we're doing in the community. It's just a distraction. So that's like, it's just annoying, but I get that, it's the state of the sports world that we're in right now. But yeah, it's something that I know that we'll deal with, but it should be good. Like, once we start winning, I think people are going to be a lot quieter about, everything that's happened. So.
Amen. Yeah. So you didn't go to the concert, and not only did you not get kicked off the team or punished, you got promoted.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. I told people, I'm like, if we were supposed to get kicked off the team for that, someone should have let me know by now. I certainly wasn't there.
It's just so crazy, man. And you said it, but it's so disappointing to me that no one okay, so you have, a disgruntled former player who leaks that fake information to someone, and then back in the day, not to age myself here, but that person would then go try to confirm that information,
right?
And they would go to you or one of your teammates and be like, "Hey, I heard this. I just wanted to see if it's true or whatever." And that's just completely a lost art now. We were talking a little bit earlier about things that you could do. I don't know if they would ever agree to this. I think that you should interview the people that are putting out these articles.
Oh, yes.
and ask them where they went wrong in their process.
Seriously, I mean, some of this stuff, I'm like, y'all better start finding better sources or different sources, because this just isn't true. And for some of this stuff, again, it's exhausting, because I know the fans are tired of it too. They're like, we just want to hear what's going on, not all this stuff that oh, this happened, and then it turns out to be fake. Let's get some better media going on about this stuff. Come to us, talk with me. I'll give you 5 stories of guys who have done amazing things in their personal lives, and that's a way better headline than just some flash in the pan article. I mean, that's I don't know. I get a little excited about it sometimes, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said when you were watching the show the other day, I wish we didn't have to talk about this stuff,
For
but
sure.
I almost feel a responsibility to address it, because it's someone has to point out that this isn't true, and that we talk to you or we talk to another player on the team, and actually do some work on it. But I just wish we didn't have to.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, and I think that's one thing too. I'll just say, if you're thinking, and this is not a threat or anything, I'm just saying, if I'm keeping it honest, I've got multiple people right now that I'm talking with every day. They work, either in the program or stuff like that. I'm busy outside of football, but I've got them keeping an eye on the media. So if there's anyone who's thinking about writing a story, either A, just come talk to me, or B, no, I'm going to find it and I'm going to talk about it, because this program does too much good to just have kind of these gnats flying around it and trying to generate some own buzz for themselves. So I'm keeping a pulse on the program and what's going on in the media. We shouldn't even have to talk about it, but I'm keeping an eye on it. So yeah.
Let's go.
You're doing the Lord's work there, yeah. Camden. It's
exactly.
It's been funny because one of the mottos for this team is "I ain't hard to find," right?
Yeah.
So you'd figure that some of these people who want to write these stories would find out the truth or reach out to the program or actually reach out to players, but it's always just this nonsense every time. So we're right there with you, where it's almost kind of annoying at this point, and it's kind of just, please stop.
Yeah. Exactly. We can end this here, but if the headline says former player says players were forced to go to Shador's concert, Shador denies report, you're still getting just as many clicks,
right?
But at least you did some work to hear both sides.
Yes.
Exactly. No, and yeah, I ain't hard to find. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram. If you're writing a piece, if you have any questions about our program, let me know. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I will be yeah, your source is probably just a little disgruntled about how they left. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I love it, man. Let's talk about the art of long snapping.
Ooh, yeah.
Because we asked Jacob this when he was on the team too, and he kind of gave us a little bit of insight. What is the toughest thing about being a long snapper?
Okay, first of all, I can take you guys back. Close your eyes, go back to the spring game. That game was miserable. That was so cold, and trying to get your hands on that ball and snap it back when they're practically frozen to the ball itself. I mean, any sort of wet ball drill or weather like that, that's tough on its own. I'd say the toughest part is probably the mental side. It's a majority mental, because you're constantly having to be perfect. I equate it to being a sniper. You don't get practice shots before you go out there. Being an offensive lineman, you could typically, if you screwed up a little bit, you could typically rely on, there being another 6'6", 300-pound person next to you to maybe take a little bit of the force. But this, I mean, you're out there on your own on an island. It's entirely mental. it's consistency, it's doing things under pressure. So that's something that, like, I think that's probably the hardest part. But it's also one of the most fun positions too, because I mean, we really get to the coaching staff has really let us put our own mark on the special teams unit. So we're working really close with our punters. We're working really close with our entire punt unit to develop a system that is very player led, and especially going into the season has a lot of trust behind it for each of the players to know, like, we've got each other, and it's going to be a well-oiled machine by the time kickoff happens on the 29th.
It's such an interesting job because, you talk about a quarterback completes 65% of his passes. That's a great quarterback. A baseball player hits the ball 3 out of 10 times. That's a great, baseball player. A long snapper has to literally hit 100% to be considered great, or even to be considered good.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because I've only played positions where if they know your name, it's a bad thing. So I'm a little bit happy for this governor thing because, like, between offensive line and long snapping, like, I don't want people to hear my name and be like, oh gosh, what went wrong?
So true.
I know you got a lot of coaches and stuff, but what's it like playing for Trevor Riley?
Oh, Trevor's awesome. I think what I love about Trevor is he's eccentric, but what he does is he coaches every player in a different way. And he focuses on, like, Mark Vassett, our punter. He's 27 years old. He's like an old man in football land. And so, like, Trevor knows that, like, Mark probably has it figured out and probably knows what he's doing. But with some of our newer guys, he's helping get them integrated in the program. And he's always looking at how can we make our punt team more efficient? How can we fix things that, we haven't looked at before? He's a huge stats guy, which is awesome. But I think the great part about working for Trevor is he really lets us – it's the seed that we start making this team player-led, because the punt units, we're trying to make it player-led. The field goal units and the PAT units, those are very player-led as well, like, obviously with coach's purview and stuff, but really making it so every guy feels comfortable about their position and everyone feels like they've got a really fine-tuned way that they know they can help that special unit do its job. And I think this year especially, we're placing massive emphasis on, we want guys who, if they're not starters, they're starting on multiple special teams units. That's the number one way they can contribute to our program. Like, if they're not starting, if they're not one of the starting 11, like, they need to be able to contribute on special teams and help out some way, because a lot of guys have a ton of talent, and I think sometimes in some programs you see people, not want to play special teams because they think it's, not their position, so who really cares? There's a new focus, so I'm hoping we're going to have some fun special teams plays this year, some fun special teams units. You'll see some great stuff out of this program. But yeah, he keeps us fired up about it. It's been really fun.
Yeah, and like whenever I hear that about guys not wanting to play special teams, I just want to like grab them and be like, "Do you know how to survive in the NFL?
Yes.
Like, it's all special teams, and you're
Exactly.
you're going to be behind if you show up to your first training camp and all the guys around you have been playing special teams and you were too good for it in college."
Yep.
Exactly.
How impressed have you been with the power of the freshman kicker, Alexander Stoyanovich?
Oh, Stoy is awesome. Like, he's, like, first of all, putting, like, all of us to shame in the weight room. Like, he is just absolutely shredded. I've been lifting with him. He's awesome. But then, yeah, his leg is something to reckon with. And I think it's cool to see the competition that we've got going on in our kicking room right now, the competition amongst the long snappers. Like, it's a really healthy environment because at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the team, but we're also pushing each other really hard to make sure that not only we are able to perform at our best, but we're also the smartest about our positions, and that we're going to be able to, like, as long snappers and as punters and kickers, be able to run our own units, which is a really great feeling. Knowing Mark feels pretty safe when he's punting and knows that his guys are going to do what's good for him. So yeah, that's been the really nice part of that.
Awesome, man. I think we have a few. Do you have any?
I got one more.
Yeah.
What does the path to becoming the starter look like for you? How do you achieve that?
Yeah, so for me, it's really been down to, like, this year has been all about really honing in that long snapping. Like, I'd say, last year I was probably at 75%. I'm using this summer to really focus on not only being the most physical player I can be and the most fine-tuned, but also the smartest. I want to be the guy out there that knows how to run all those units. I want to be in charge of helping make sure that those units run smoothly. So I'm trying to get to know those guys on those special teams units right now, but then also just, get reps in. I mean, that's one thing. I'll be honest, like I came in learning how to long snap, which is a tough thing to do at like a Division I level, having to learn that. Luckily, I got skills from offensive line that I've been able to take over, but it's really just getting the consistency for me. So I think I've finally reached a point where I'm not trying to get snaps right. I'm just, I feel like I can't get them wrong, which is a great feeling to have. But I think that's something that heading into season, I mean, I'm fired up, and I'm wanting to be out there for every game. So whatever I can do to do that, I've been working my tail off. It's going to be an exciting season.
I love it, man. We're rooting for you. And I do have one more.
Okay, go for it.
Because I was thinking about this governor role, and like it just hit me today thinking like that's going to be a sick thing to be able to put on a resume.
Oh,
like
hell yeah.
We're looking at it right now as like an awesome, like cool thing that Coach Prime has bestowed upon you. But like, like named by Coach Prime as the governor of Colorado football is like a great thing that you're going to one day put on your resume. So I'm curious, what's the dream? What are you going to be trying to use that resume for later in life?
Yeah, well, I think right out of college, the first thing that I want to do after I graduate, after we win a national championship, after we have 2 amazing seasons, because I'm done in 2 years, after I'm done in 2 seasons, I want to travel a ton. Like, that is my goal, like being on the football team. That's one thing we don't really talk about is like you were here basically 10 out of the 12 months of the year. Like you get max 2 months off, and that's if you don't go to a championship. So you're going to have 1 month off, which is May, and then it's like a straight shot to the end of the year, and then you're back up again for spring ball. So over the last 3 years, I love to travel. It's something that I love in terms of like just getting to see the world. So I want to get out for a year, travel. I'd love to go for like a Rhodes, Mitchell, Marshall scholarship, do something overseas, which would be really cool. But then after that, I'd love to either start up my own business or join or do something in like the private equity venture capital space. Like those are really interesting to me, going in on like the investing side, starting up my own business, something like that. So I don't know what yet. I think that the platform that Coach has given me and the connections through Coach and through the program and through CU, Leeds School of Business, I mean, it's just been incredible so far. So, like, I'm going home and, like, the dinner table, my parents are like, what are you planning to do? Probably a little bit stressed out. I'm like, I don't know yet, but I'm confident enough that I've got an amazing network and that I've got some great skills from everything that I've developed at CU. So that's what I'm excited for. Hopefully it'll be great things. But yeah, I can't wait for post-college because I think that I'm going to try and take the impact that I have on the CU team and apply that to the world. So
awesome, man.
You're just
that's
getting
amazing.
Started, bro.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We're going to see you making an impact in some form or fashion for sure. So can't wait.
Thank you.
I think, Alyssa, you have 1 or 2 questions from the chat, the Toyota chat, that we could get to real quick for Camden. This is from Shelly. How are you developing the role with input from whom, and how much time does this role take? What will be the frequency of your updates?
Yeah, so that's something that I've been trying to figure out. This governor thing, like I said, it was developed at the leadership conference. Like that was kind of pretty quick. Like normally if you're developing a role like this, you've got a content calendar planned out, you know who your people are. It's been a lot just like personally for me. I don't like to talk about this role like as it relates to me because I want it to be about the team, but like at least personally it's been a lot because it's trying to figure out how to get content out, how to talk with the fans, how to get stuff that people want out, how to get guys organized to do stuff. So it's been a lot. It's something I've tried to manage. So I think we start off with weekly updates. That was a bit much. I think we're going to go to probably bi-weekly. The next like governor's address might be next week. I'm going to try and intersperse some shorter form content in there, talking with players, individual guys, just to like, maybe 1 minute segments on new guys on the team, short little interviews with them. But I think what I really want this position to be is a way to give a voice to every guy in the locker room, to give them an opportunity to promote themselves, their playing ability, and their NIL, and then to be able to represent this program on the national stage and really keep the stories that are said about us in line, but also promote the positive. Like there's that good balance there. So that's what I'm trying to do with this role, and I love to hear from any fans too. So if you guys have anything that you want from me, if you have any ideas, let me know. I think that would be awesome to be able to have some more input. But so far, it's been an absolute blessing to be able to take this and turn it into something special.
That's awesome, man.
Great job, man.
Based on you talking about competing for best GPA on the team, I have a feeling you're a lot smarter than me. But if there's one thing I do know, it's content. So if you need any help, just reach out, and we're happy to help you as much as we can.
Thank you.
We've got one more question from the Toyota chat. Artemis asked, what was your thought process when Coach Prime first came into Colorado?
I knew there'd be a lot of change. It was like, I won't lie, it was scary. Like, I saw him get off that jet. We had that first team meeting. I'm bringing my luggage and it's Louis. Like, that will always live in my mind. And yeah, like those first couple of weeks, I was pretty scared because it's, hey, here is a absolutely amazing NFL player, absolutely amazing baseball player coming in, cleaning house, changing things up. He wants the best of the best out of the team. You better want to be here to stick around. But also in that was my mentality of, this is my school, dang it, and I'm sticking around no matter what. I'm part of the pride and tradition here, and it's going to take a lot to get me off this team. So for me, it was a little bit of being stubborn, and I think being around my teammates, being around some of the OBs definitely helped out a ton. But yeah, I think it's transformed so much. There's so much I've learned through the entire process. Like those first couple of weeks, realizing like, oh, hey, they're filming a documentary and you're going to be constantly on camera. Like, it's definitely changed a lot. It's helped me, become a better speaker, be better on camera, stuff like that. But I wouldn't trade the experience for the world. What started out for, being a pretty scary time ended up just being the absolute ride of a lifetime. I've been loving it, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Awesome, man.
That's a great place to end. Camden, let us know where we can find you on socials, where everyone can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So YouTube channel, it's at Camden Dempsey. It says the Governor, Colorado. I've got 2 videos up on there. Feel free to go watch those. Got some program updates from the last couple of weeks. There'll be some more stuff coming out over the next couple of weeks. And then Instagram is just at Camden_Dempsey. And my Twitter is at Camden Dempsey. So feel free, go follow those. I'll keep you guys up to date on all things CU, any other cool things that we do. Hopefully we do some more stuff with DNVR. But I've been loving this role, and yeah, any content suggestions you guys have, anything that you want to hear from the Governor, from this program, let me know, because I really want it to be an open way to keep this program really close to the fans heading into season.
And I always say this, but there are going to be thousands of you who are watching this right now who have not yet subscribed to Camden's YouTube channel. So let's show the power of the DNVR community and go blow up his channel with a bunch more subscribers.
Camden, you've been awesome, man. You're going to absolutely thrive in this role as the Governor. We're excited to hear from you moving forward, and we're going to record some more content here very shortly, too.
All right. Thanks, Camden.
Let's go Buffs.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.